difficult it is, but in the end, as you say, it really is all about doing right by yourself, and the other person is really incidental.
Well, they are, beside the point somehow. And yet, too, that being said, the steps toward forgiveness or toward this realization, it's hard work in a certain way. I mean, anger is very, very powerful and very gripping, and the wish to blame, the wish to fly toward rage is there. It's there. I still have it at times. It still will grip me at times. I'll feel deeply sad or angry about the lack of my father's presence at that time in my life, or at the absolute audacity of Bob to have crossed that line.
This is your first book, and to be able to achieve this level of sort of sensitivity and skill is really quite an accomplishment. And to have people like Tony Kushner and Eve Ensler and others raving over a first work. Do you think that, I guess, as an actor, I mean, you've been dealing with a written word and all its nuance for your adult life. Is that sort of why you were so comfortable going into writing and were able to sort of transition as skillfully as you did?
Well, I'm honored that you feel that way about it, Peter. I don't know exactly. I've always, since I was a little kid, felt somewhere in my being that I just had this feeling that I wanted to write. My father was a writer. He was a reporter for the Rocky Mountain News back in our hometown. And I think I always had a great love of language, and I do think being in the theater and reading a lot and reciting and learning Shakespeare, and I was at ACT in school there at the conservatory and worked on a lot of wonderful plays, and I think that it's also just that I've been scribbling in a journal for years and years, and I spent a long time writing the book. I mean, it took me almost 10 years to write it, and I don't know how the transition actually happened. I was riddled with doubt the whole time, but somehow the sentences started shaping and making sense, and I don't know, I feel really blessed that it's been well received, and that I was able to, I guess it's that thing of finding a voice, finding a way to put sentences together, and somehow that began to emerge in the last few years.
This has been Peter Dunn in conversation with Armistead Maupin, Augustin Burroughs, and Martin Moran. Thank you for listening. You may contact me by phone at 410-472-2880 or by email at pcd2006@verizon.net.